That's correct, Michelle. Well, generally, Gauteng has improved in terms of its crime statistic, but also the number of incidents which have been reported. But the police stations in Gauteng continue, to be amongst the top 10 when it comes to serious crimes. I'm referring to murder, I'm referring to assault, but also gender-based violence. So that is the situation. But we also know that there have been some incidents in Gauteng which have been worrying, and of course, the provincial commissioner himself just said that he is concerned about some of these incidents that are taking place in places in entertainment establishments, but also lately the one that took place in Sentin just last night. So that's the situation here. But now I'm joined by the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, the Provincial Legislature Committee responsible committee safety, Dr. Masuku. He's here to give us a sense of whether generally, Doctor, you are happy with how the province is doing when it comes to the general statistics, but we're still dealing with murders. Orange Farm is in the top 3 in the country, but also Johannesburg is featuring mostly in some of these risk crimes. What is your general concern? What is your general view?
Yes, we do appreciate the decline. It has been a trend for the past 4 quarters that we've been analyzing, but I've been indicating that statistics usually don't really translate to perception of feeling safe in Gauteng. So we generally want to work on, and which we insisted with the provincial commissioner, that we need to work on the issue of the volume, the number of the cases themselves, because they are a big problem. Even if though there is a decline, but the numbers are still a bit higher than other provinces themselves. So the issue is about working on the problems of the perception itself. We need to make sure that Gauteng citizens feel safe in their spaces and they feel that they can be able to go out and enjoy their freedom.
I mean, not so long ago, we were dealing with the incidents that took place in Pretoria, Izanzu, where young men were violently assaulted. But now we just heard that the incident of a shooting that took place in Sentin. You might not be operational when it comes to policing issues, but you are the custodian politically of community safety in Gauteng. What is your general sense of how this incident have been happening, but also what should be done going forward to deal with this?
It is a concern because most of these incidences involve private security, and it means that we need to do more in terms of regulating, how private security function and also how they conduct themselves. Because if in the Zanzu incident, it is said that those individuals that were involved in in victimizing, those young people were the bouncers or the security. And even yesterday's incident, it is indicated that the incident involves private security who were protectors to one of the instigators of the incident. So it is a point that we have raised with SIRA, not only because of this incident, but it's a point that we have raised before, that there should be some form of regulation. And as a legislature, we have that a mandate to do regulations and to control. It's a problem. We see them running around with big rifles in protecting individuals. So we are not sure whether they are gangster or are they protecting individuals. So it just intimidates our citizens, and it's something that we need to regulate and look for.
I mean, will you consider directing some policing resources towards those areas or towards the sector, whether it's entertainment, whether it's restaurant, but just to ensure that there's more emphasis and reinforcement in terms of to prevent these incidents instead of reacting to them?
Yeah, I think that could be part of the policing strategy that they put up. But in most of these police precincts where they've got areas of entertainment, they do have a specific strategic operations that they make, and they do. With visibility on its own, we know that it tends to deter some of these incidences from occurring. But we just generally hope that going forward in those areas, there should be more of the regulation, particularly those, people who carry guns. There are regulations when you carry guns, and if it's private security, it should be more also in a regulated space.
One last question, Doctor. The issue of capacity of police officers, but also police station without resources. What is your take on that? This has been an issue that has been going on for a very long time.
It is an issue, and it's an issue that it was raised with the Minister of Police, and I think he's quite aware. I think in the previous engagement, he did indicate that as the Department of Police, they are working on the issue. We are also concerned because we are talking about how our police stations look like. You know, the look and feel of our police stations, they are not modern, they are ancient, and some work on the equipment that are broken and so on. And this is what we've seen when we are doing oversight in some of these police stations. And we have asked and called upon the PC actually to be able to respond to it, and we're going to keep in touch with that report and focus on the progress of modernizing the police stations.
Thank you very much, Dr. for your time.
Thank you so much for having us.
Michelle, that's Dr. Bandile Masuku, who is the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee in the Gauteng legislature, responsible for community safety, just giving us his insight, but also his comments on some of these incidents which have been taking place, so really pointing figures towards the private security sector and how it needs to be regulated, and also saying that, well, they are in constant engagements with that sector to ensure that there are some measures, but also regulations are followed to the T. So that's where we are right now, but also the engagements here in Sandton are continuing, as we're also expecting some of the district commissioners as well to make their presentations in terms of how they plan to deal with crimes in their own district, specifically Johannesburg.
Sineko Mhlaba, thanks very much indeed for that update. Well, let's stay in the province. Almost a year after the president intervened in the ailing eThekwini municipality, today he announced a similar undertaking in yet another troubled metro. The leadership of the city of Johannesburg will, from Friday, be supervised by a presidential working group similar to the one in